Hi, welcome back to ODE. My name is Paulo, and as I did last year, I'm here to show you my top pens of 2020. Just a couple of considerations that I want to do before I start really to show you the pens. First one, I thought about making a smaller selection of pens. I thought about the top 6, that was what I made last year. But this year I received many more pens. I bought some more pens. So it's getting harder to select only 6. I have great pens here, and there were also other great pens that I will not show you today, but maybe they would deserve to be on a top. If it was a top 11, I think there were pens that would really deserve to be there, but I had to make sure this will not be too long. Other thing, to keep the video a little bit shorter, this video will be like last year's video, and I will show you the pens only with no specific writing sample. Of all the pens that I'm going to show you today, there are 4 of them that I didn't make a specific review. They will be done soon, but all of these pens you saw me writing with them in those videos that I make the pens for the month, and I showed you all these pens, some of them more than once. So this is it. Another additional thing that I wanted to tell you is that I put these in ranking. You could try to predict which would be my top pens by adding the pens for the first half of the year with the pens for the second half of the year, and it's not really like that, because this is a top 10 and it is very, very subjective. I know that, because this is not coherent with the tops that I made before. It's very hard to choose always the same pens, because some of them are quite next to the others in terms of preference. So it's not really easy to show and to sort them, to rank them. So it depends on the day, on the mood, and those stuff. And this is it. Another thing, a final thing. I will consider the pens that I received and that I inked so far. There are a couple pens that are now inked, but I received them so recently that will be not shown here. If they will get into some kind of top, they will go for 2021 and not 2020. And I imagine that being the case of the Wing Sung 601 that I showed you last video, or the Aurora, the duocard yellow, that I showed you also very recently. I didn't have the time to decide if they will fit in the top pens or not. So if they will go into next year's video. It will not be that fair to add them to a closed list while I use them for a week or so. That being said, let's start today. 10 pens, 2 are Japanese, 2 are German, and 6 are Italian. And if I had to say something about the year of 2020, besides all the COVID stuff, I would say that this year was a big year of discovery of Italian pens. There are at least three Italian pens that I received that are not in this list, so lots of them. Let's start. The first pen that I have to show you is a German pen. And this pen is on my top list for the same reason it was on the top list for the first half of the year. Or was it the second? I don't remember. This pen is on the top because is it my favorite color of all times? No. Is it my favorite Kaweco Sport? Not really, but you know that I'm a big fan of Kaweco Sport. And this pen is very special because it is the pen that was created for the Facebook group, which is called Kaweco Collectors and Users. This was created for the group, and I was in the creation of this pen since the beginning, and so this is really important for me to be in the creation of a special edition of one of my favorite pen brands ever. So I'm quite happy for having this pen. It means a lot. The camera is not focusing. Now you can see Kaweco Sport and their collector's edition. An interesting pen with a coral color that came with this blind engraving, which I find nice, and with a steel nib. Very simple pen. When we decided to have this pen for the group, we also thought about a metal pen, but then I considered, at least for the first pen for the group, it should be one of the cheapest pens available to be as inclusive as possible. Because if we were going for an AL Sport, which is made of aluminium, we could leave someone out of the buyer's list, and that could be... It wouldn't be fair for the other members that couldn't afford it. So this is the pen that is on the place number 10. And let's go for pen number 9. And pen number 9 is a very, very special pen. This pen was sent by Salvatore Matrone from Leonardo. And this is a Leonardo Officina Italiana Messenger. And this was kind of a special edition for the new year that is a year with 366 days, so this was a special edition, a limited edition, I think you can see, of 366 pens for each color. And I think everyone expected that 2020 would be a great year. Of course, I think all of we missed our guesses, and that's it. But this pen is the Leonardo Officina Italiana Messenger in orange, although this is more kind of a yellow. I'm not sad about it anyway, because I love yellow pens, so I prefer it is more on the yellow side than on the orange side. It is an interesting pen because it is a really big pen, as you may see. It's not small. And it has a number 6 nib. This one is a Jowo nib, not a Bock nib, as they usually make. And it is a very interesting, simple pen, not a piston filler, just a cartridge converter pen that has these screw-in-place cartridges. So very simple pen, very beautiful, easy to use. You do not need any special extra care, and the resin is beautiful. Most of it, or maybe half of it, is transparent, and the other half has these yellowish and whitish swirls. I really love this material. I think this was a great edition, and this was a nice way to start the year with hopes it would be a great year. Okay? But it was just 2020. Now, let's go for pen number 8. And pen number 8, it comes in two parts, is this one. And this one is the Kaweco Supra. This pen is not new. Both these two were released in 2020. This one was released some years ago. This is the Kaweco Supra in steel. It is a pen that is the same size of the Kaweco Lilliput, so small pen, but it is girthier. And it has an interesting stuff, which is this, which is a section for the barrel, like an extender, that you can put between the section and the barrel itself, like this. You screw this, and if you put this way, you'll have a full-sized pen, and you don't need to post the pen. I have to say that I prefer to use it this way, and strangely, this pen has replaced my Kaweco AL Sport Stonewashed Blue as my pocket pen now, my daily carry pen. This pen is really amazing. The steel is beautifully machined, very good pen. The seal of the cap is very good, the pen does not dry. It has a big number 6 nib, which is beautiful, as you can see. This pen was sent to me by Kaweco for review, and when they sent me the pen, I think things got loose in the box, and what I think it happened is that these unscrewed a little bit and it hit the cap and so on, and the nib was bent. And I made a video about how I fixed the nib. But I fixed the nib and it really works. Then Kaweco sent me a new nib as a replacement, but I never replaced it. I have the original bent nib that I made it good again. The pen is great. The nib is smooth. It has some, not flex, but it has some bounce to it. I really like these numbers. It was my first number 6 Kaweco pen, and I really like it. As far as I know, this is a Bock nib, and I have to say that I really like the way Bock nibs perform. There are lots of people that don't like Bock. I don't know why. I really like it. So this is a very nice pocket or full-size pen, as you prefer, and I really enjoy it. Like it a lot. Now, the pen number 7 is the very well-known Visconti Homo sapiens Bronze Age Oversize. This pen has this power filler. Now the pen is empty, although this is on the top pen, it's not in use currently. So you just push this rod away and then you do this, it creates a vacuum and it fills with ink. It is a very interesting pen that I think everyone knows. It is one of the most famous modern pens available. It's Visconti, you see there with the clip that has a shape of the bridge Ponte Vecchio in Firenze, I guess. And it has this My Pen system where you can take these out with a magnet and replace it for some other tops. And the pen is made of a resin that has inside the lava from Mount Etna in Italy. It has bronze trim that gets tarnished with time. It's a big pen, it has a unique feel to it. heavy enough, not too heavy, and it has a beautiful number 6 Visconti nib made of, let me try to show you, 23 karat palladium. This is a beautiful nib. This is not from the Visconti, this ink thing. This pen is wonderful. It writes wonderfully. It has a little bit of line variation. It is a great pen. I got this pen in a different way than that I usually get my pens. This pen was a result of a trade that I made with a friend from Brazil. He took one Montegrappa that I had that was really exquisite, but maybe too expensive for me to carry. At least, in my opinion, it was too precious for everyday carry. And I got this one in exchange, and I'm quite happy with it. I've been using it for most of the year. Now it is empty, mostly because I have lots of pens that I need to have inked right now for reviews and some other stuff and some other videos. So now it is not currently inked, but it is definitely one pen in my top 10. And it is on number 7, but it doesn't mean the pen is not good. It is a great pen, but I had to rank them, and it went in number 7. So, very nice pen, this Visconti. And we will jump now to pen number 6. And pen number 6 is one of my most recent pens. It is the Leonardo Officina Italiana Furore Grande in the color Blue Positano. I made the review of this pen very recently, so the pen is inked. It is very well made. It has the Furore shape for Leonardo pens, but it is the Grande version as they made for the Momento Zero. You have the engraving on the barrel that says Leonardo Officina Italiana, and then it has the serial number of the pen. It has a nice springy clip that has this little wheel that allows you to put the clip over a piece of fabric, like your shirt pocket or a pen pouch or something like that. It is a piston filler pen. It doesn't have an ink window. That may be a problem for some, but you cannot check the ink window on this pen, but you cannot check the ink level. But you cannot check the ink level on the previous pen that I showed you also. So it is something that you live with it or not, and for me it's no problem. It has a nice number 6 nib that says Leonardo Italy, and then this is an F nib. It writes wonderfully, and I think that also writes wonderfully because it has an ebonite feed. This is again a Bock nib, and I really enjoy Bock nibs. Have nothing to say about that. The pen is very good as in its performance and also in its looks. It is so beautiful, so beautiful. I'm afraid I'm not able to show you all the nice swirls in this pen. This reminds me, I've said this several times, this reminds me the sea, the waves when they hit the big rocks at the cliff and they make this foam and so on, and I imagine a big lighthouse in front of it, and looking down you see this. This pen is really amazing and makes my imagination go. I'm quite happy because when Mr. Salvatore Matrone asked me which pen that I would like to have, I think the Smeraldo or the Emerald version that has lots of chatoyance was I think the favorite for many people, and I decided to go for this one that is not so famous. It has not that kind of chatoyance that the Smeraldo has, but it is a beautiful finish. I really like it, and I'm so happy that I chose this one. Beautiful, wonderful pen. I'm very happy with it, and this is the pen number 6. Now, let's go for pen number 5. And pen number 5 is another Italian pen. So we are here in 3 Italian pens in a row. And this is this pen. This is a simple pen in a way, but it is very interesting in some other aspects, and I really like this one. This is a brand that I knew it existed. It has been a very luxury pen, and now it's not in that higher range. It is a Tibaldi pen. This is my first experience having a pen. It was this one. This is the Tibaldi Perfect, and the color is rich black. All the pen is made of black resin, except for the clip, which has some kind of a rubber coating. The black resin has these parts that are knurled and are a little bit more matte. The other parts are completely shiny. You can see my lighting umbrella that's over there and the reflex of my finger. You can see it perfectly. It's very shiny, but it is at the same time so black. So I think the name of this pen, Rich Black, is really perfect. One thing they did was to recreate a pen that they had in their history, I think in the 20s, which was the Tibaldi Perfect, and it was kind of a safety pen with a different mechanism. You would not turn this. I think it had a spring and the nib just went down as you kept the pen. I think it was this. Very nice. I really enjoy this pen. I like the design because it is a vintage. This is a brand respecting their history, and I really like that. It has the threads there, which make a very simple pen. It is broken there, the smoothness of the pen, by that knurled little part, but it gives it a little texture, not as sharp as the threads. I think it is so nice. The only thing that I don't find so good in this pen is that the section is only this part, and when you try to unscrew the section to fill the pen, you have to get your fingers dirty. The nib is a number 6 steel nib. This is a fine one. It has the eagle for the Aquila family that owns Tibaldi, as well they own Montegrappa. And you have the ebonite feed that makes lots of difference. It is a cartridge converter pen. The performance is perfect. This is really an amazing pen. I have it inked since I received it. It is amazing, and it has one of my favorite inks inside. And now let's go for number 4. And pen number 4 is the most expensive of the group. And no, this means that a pen is not on the top of a ranking just because it's more expensive. I'm not saying this is a bad pen, not at all. This is a very good pen, a wonderful pen, but it's just not on top of my 2020 pens. And what is this? This is a magnificent Sailor King of Pen. It is a beautiful pen in a dark green color, which is transparent, and I guess you can see the nib there through the cap. Very beautiful pen. This one is not reviewed yet. The review will be out soon. It is beautiful. The cap unscrews. It has the seal mechanism to keep the nib wet. You have this big number 8 nib. It is a 21 karat gold nib. So this is the first gold nib of the pens that I showed you. Of course, the Visconti is a palladium nib. This one is a gold nib. The other ones are steel. This pen is wonderful, beautiful, big-sized. The section has two features that I really like. The section is short and at the same time it is girthy, and I love that. It is a cartridge converter pen. I don't have anything against cartridges, although I have something against the small ink capacity of this converter. However, this pen has such a large capacity of ink and holds so much ink that I tried. If you fill just the converter from a bottle, just the converter, not from the nib, and the pen is empty, and you put the converter in the pen and you depress it all the way to empty the ink, you can empty all the ink converter into the section and the feed without dripping ink from the nib and the pen, and you can the converter becomes empty. So this is really a good pen that we hold ink inside the inking system, and it really works well. And it has the amazing feedback for sailor pens. It is a medium nib, but it's not very broad because it is a Japanese pen. I really enjoy this pen. It is one of my most expensive pens ever, but it is very beautiful, but I don't think it is the most exciting one to use. But I love it and I use it a lot. It's not just my number one. And now, let's jump to the top three. And the third pen of this ranking is this pen. And I'm so sorry that I cannot show you this pen in its full glory, because it simply doesn't work. At least with the studio, let's call it, the studio lighting, I cannot show you all the things that this material has. This is the Montegrappa Mia Meteor Shower. It is a beautiful grayish brown pen with strips or stripes of white and orange and black. It's very hard to describe. This material is beautiful. This is a Montegrappa pen. This one I bought it myself like a birthday gift. I thought I deserved it. It has steel here. It is a cartridge converter pen, short section, but it has a very comfortable shape to hold. The typical Montegrappa nib, a oval nib. This is a medium one with a regular plastic feed. But this pen is gorgeous. I think it's really beautiful. You see, cartridge converter that screws in place. This pen is amazing. I really like it, and it is very decent in working, but the looks of it, it's gorgeous. So this pen is on the top, on the third place on the top pens for 2020. Now let's go for number two. And the pen in place number two is a pen that is quite hard to place in number two, because this pen could easily be a number one, and maybe a number one of all time. And why is that? Because this pen is so well made that almost annoys me of so well made it is. I really like it. It is a Pilot Elite made of sterling silver. This is a pen from the 1968-1969 an interesting pen with very nice springy clip. Perfect. The finish is very nice. It has a smooth uncapping, it clicks in place. Then you have a black section in this shape of nib that is beautiful. It is a large nib. You may think it is the same size of a normal regular pocket elite pen. It is not. Let me just show you here the nib of the Sailor King of Pen, just to compare the size. This is not a small nib. It just has a strange shape, not a small at all. Very nice section, quite large. The pen is easy to use because you just click in or out the cap. It is long enough to write with and post it. If you want, you can post it. It posts securely and very deep, so it becomes very well balanced. The nib is, let me show it to you, is this 18 karat gold nib, and it has a manifold nib, which means it is a nib, a medium nib, but it is a pilot medium nib, which means it's not too broad. It can stand lots of pressure when you're writing because it was made to write into carbon paper. So this pen is very resistant. However, I can even take some line variation out of this pen, which is amazing. Another thing that is amazing in Japanese fountain pens, at least the Japanese makers, is that they think in several details. See where is the breather hole of the, at least the ink, let's call it the ink intake hole, is there. Which means that this pen is very big, but you can fill it from a bottle that is almost empty because the hole that feeds the pen with ink is right in the, almost on the tip of the nib. So it is perfect. You could fill this pen very easily. However, and that is the downside, it's not Pilot's fault. They used the system that was used by the time, which was an accordion filler. It was a button filler pen that depressed a sac in the shape of an accordion and it would fill that way. However, that system did not stand the test of time in two ways. The one I got, I could fill it once and then it broke. And it didn't stand the test of time also because no one makes those kind of sacs no more. So I could have put a simple sac, a straight sac, and then use it as a twist sac and it would fill. Or I decided to make something different and I made a couple of videos about it, so you can check it if you want. And if you have a pen like this, if you want to have my my solution, you can check my video because it works. I created a special cartridge which has quite a big capacity, made of a big pen cap and a Pilot cartridge glued together. So if you are interested, if you have a pen like that and you just want to have it, if you want to convert it into a cartridge filler, check that video because this is a way it can work. And it was not a cartridge filler, it was a fixed system, but you can remove it, the accordion sac, and put this kind of cartridge. If you ask me what I'm not in love with this pen, I think it is the kind of design. This ciselé design is very interesting, but it's not really my favorite. This pen could be on top because it is one of the best performer pens that I have. It is so perfect, and I think this is the writer's pen. If you want to write a big book, this is the pen for you. It is wonderful. But sometimes we care a little bit about the looks. And when we have also an excellent performance and much better looks, sometimes you fall into that, and that's what I did. And let's go for pen number 1. And pen number 1 on top of the list is this one. I think this was in my wish list for 2020. It is a beautiful pen. This is a Leonardo Officina Italiana Momento Zero Grande, very long name, and the color is sand. The material of this pen is amazing. I love this pen, I love this pen, I love this pen. This pen is inked since I got it. You have seen me writing with it several times because I made the review. I made some comparisons. I have the pens for the month where I have it inked and write with it. It has the same kind of design as all the other Momento Zero or even the Furore Grande, but the design is different on the cap. But you have the engraving there. This has 3 rings. The clip, which is quite springy with the same wheel. The nib is the same as the Furore Grande. Fortunately, it is still a Bock nib, and I like them. This is a beautiful pen, a piston filler, no ink window, no transparency on material, so you cannot see how much ink you have. It has an ebonite feed that works wonderfully. And with this pen, I also discovered from a friend of mine, which has a channel called the Inky Nib. He gave me a sample of an ink that I think is amazing, which is the Diamine Macassar, which is inside this pen. It is a perfect fit. And when you look at this pen, it is gorgeous, it is glorious, this kind of finish. It really is a sandy color and with some shades of silver in a warm tone, very beautiful. It can remind you of real sand. This pen is gorgeous. I think this is, if I had to make a video, maybe I will someday, a video of my top 10 most beautiful materials for fountain pens, I would say this is one of those. This is that kind of material they call the spaghetti resin, which are strips of resin that are well together, and then the pen is turned out of those. So you have different shades, different chatoyancies, different colors from every little part, and it makes this amazing effect. This pen is beautiful. I like it. And so this is the top pen from these top 10. And let me just put them together one final time for you to see them. So pen number 10 was the Kaweco Sport Collector's Edition. Number 9, Leonardo Officina Italiana Messenger Orange. And Leonardo Officina Italiana has 3 pens on the top. It is the only brand that has 3 pens. The other that has 2 pens is Kaweco, and then the others have 1 pen each. Then we have the Kaweco Super Steel, very nice pen also. In place number 7, the Visconti Homo sapiens oversize Bronze Age, or Homo sapiens Bronze Age oversize. Then in number 6, Leonardo Officina Italiana Furore Blu Positano, beautiful color. If you like sea colors, check this one, it is amazing. Then in number 5, the Tibaldi Perfecta in rich black. It is a wonderful pen. If you want a modern pen and it has a modern style but with a vintage feel, I think this pen is really perfect. If you can afford one of those, I could, because I got it at a very big discount, you should consider to have a Sailor King of pen, because this is an amazing pen, looks great, feels great in the hand. It's a very big pen, very nicely made. It is a Sailor pen, and that's enough to say. Then in number 3 we have the Montegrappa Mia. This is a collection of an open collection, not a limited one. There are also Mia pens as limited colors. This is not a limited color. I think it is limited for sale, for being sold in Italy. It is beautiful, beautiful resin. Believe me, it's much more interesting than what it shows here on camera. It's hard to keep up. And in number 2, the only vintage pen of this group, or more vintage pen from the 60s, not that vintage but older pen, which is the Pilot Elite, made of sterling silver with that big wonderful nib. This is great pen, and I made a list some days ago, which was my when I was preparing this video, and this one got in first place. But now you can see it depends on the day. This could be perfectly the first pen. And then the Leonardo Officina Italiana Momento Zero Grande Sand, which is a wonderful pen, wonderful performance on paper. And what I have to say is that these pens all have very different characters. And let me just say this, and I will close the video. I like these pens because I like variety. I like to see the way pens write, I love the way they work, and I love to respect the way they are made. So I do not fine-tune my nibs to have them work all in the same way. I don't care if the nib is a little smoother or a little bit more feedback. I love the pens within certain characteristics. I prefer feedback than no feedback at all. But I like to accept the pens, and I would not love if my Leonardo wrote like a pilot. A pilot is a pilot, a sailor is a sailor, and so on. I like that all these pens have different personalities. So this is all. I hope you liked the video. I wish you all happy holidays, whichever is your religion. It doesn't matter, it's not about that. It's about celebrating something, at least celebrating the end of this crazy year of 2020. And I will keep posting videos, so please keep showing here on this video. Tell me on the comments what you think about my list, what you agree and disagree, and I hope to see you soon. Bye.